What's up, y'all? This is your boy Jackson. Welcome to the first episode of the Drop That Podcast, where we're going to dive into MMA, pro wrestling, hip hop, boxing, film and television, the whole works, even in the business. Let's get into it. First topic, fight announcement. Yuri versus Pereira for the light heavyweight title at UFC 295 at Madison Square Garden. That is a crazy fucking fight. That speaks fireworks. That's going to be nuclear bombs, throwing the whole works. It doesn't matter if they're throwing kicks. It doesn't matter if they're throwing punches. Somebody might get knocked the fuck out. Now, when it comes down to this belt has been passed around from Jan to Glover to Yuri to Jamal Hill. Now we are here again with a vacant 205-pound title, but you cannot not be more happier than when this fight was announced by UFC President Dana White. This is a crazy ass fight. This is probably going to be fight of the night. I'm actually winning a bet on this one. This is going to be fight of the night. I'm going to go on stake, DraftKings, better, doesn't matter. I'm going to bet that this is going to be fight of the fucking night. If this goes to a decision, I might shut off the shit during the main event. Just bullshitting. I'm not shutting that off because we have the heavyweight title on the line as John Bones Jones, get it correct. John Bones Jones defends against former champion Stipe Miocic. This is a fight that's going to be crazy because I don't think it's going to be about who's bigger, who's faster. I think it's going to be about who's smarter. These two know how to implement game plans on the fly, feeling out your opponent in the octagon. And John has been successful doing it. Stipe's been successful doing it. My only concern is this is John Jones' second fight in 3+ years. First fight, he didn't even get some octagon time. He didn't even break a sweat. He didn't even have any damage. I'll be shocked if he came out with a little bit of a bruise on his knee. That's how quick the fight against Sirgan in Las Vegas was. That was crazy. He made it look easy. That's like somebody coming straight off the couch. Not saying John did that. John was training, bulking up for 3+ years, ready to take over the heavyweight division. And he did it in under a minute. Gotta give the man a respect. He is the GOAT. Until somebody changes that, John Bones Jones is the GOAT. Stipe Miocic, he hasn't been in the octagon in over 2+ years. He is a respected fireman. Pretty much well respected up in Cleveland. He brought a world championship. LeBron James is not the only one who did it. Stipe Miocic brought a world championship to Cleveland. He doesn't get much credit for that. We gotta shed some flowers on that one for him. So it's gonna be who's gonna have the best game plan in the main event at UFC 295 in Madison Square Garden. Y'all better be ready for this. Now, we're gonna get into 296, UFC 296 in December. Also announce Paddy Pimblett versus Tony El Cucuy Ferguson. Here's the shit, right? Paddy's undefeated right now in the UFC. There are question marks regarding his last performance. They think he lost the fight. He also got injured, so he's coming back from an injury. Tony Ferguson, he went on a killer winning streak, and that winning streak got snapped by Justin Gaethje around the time of the pandemic for the interim lightweight title. My crazy shit about Tony Ferguson, right? People want to talk about his commitment to the game, or there's personal problems that's affecting his brain, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Leave Tony's personal life out of this. We're not fans of Tony because he's a husband, he's a father, and all this shit. We are respected of Tony Ferguson because what he brings to the octagon. He's entertaining fans. This is what he's done. He's a former interim lightweight champion. I think it's crazy that the guy had to fucking fight for an interim lightweight title again. What is going on with these interim titles? Do they mean anything? They're not even getting pay-per-view points. It's kind of bullshit, but I guess so you can have a belt that's not even the undisputed championship on your mantle. All right. Great. I mean, they could buy a replica of that on UFC.com, but that's beside the point. So people are kind of shedding off of him. He's on a losing streak right now. I mean, it takes guts to step in there after the defeats that Tony Ferguson has had. But here's the shit. People look at this as, oh, this is a big fight announcement. In what way? Right? Is it for Paddy? Or is it going to be for Ferguson? Personally, I think this is for Paddy Pimblett, I think this is a showcase. Since people think he lost his last fight, you can have an argument 3-2, 2-3, whatever. Okay, here's Tony Ferguson, a well-accomplished former interim lightweight champion, so you can pretty much perform all your skills, your whole entire skill set to this big name in the UFC. We could say it like that, or we could look at it this way. This is for this losing streak that Ferguson is on. Okay, people could hold it against him for this. Paddy Pimblett is let's say this represents his losing streak from here to here, right? One knockout of Paddy Pimblett, you'll be forgetting everything about his fucking losing streak. He shuts up right there. Maybe not in the rankings, but they're going to start talking about Tony El Cucuy Ferguson again. Just for this win. Because Paddy Pimblett is a big hype train out there in Europe. Huge. They love him. Okay? He entertains the fans. So, put him in the ring, in the octagon, with somebody who entertains the fans as well. These two probably on the mic will probably do a great promo to promote their actual upcoming fight on UFC 296. But people are not talking about, they're talking about Paddy winning, but they're not talking about Ferguson winning. Who do I got in this fight? It's kind of hard to say. How's the injury when it comes down to Paddy? Are you 100% to take on somebody like El Cucuy? Because this ain't a break. Forget about the losing streak. This ain't a break. El Cucuy comes to fight. Just ask Bobby Green. It wasn't a walk in the park, but Bobby Green got it done. Ferguson comes to fight. You getting hit with these knees, you getting hit with these kicks, those razor sharp elbows, don't matter. The jiu-jitsu, don't matter. You're going to probably get it. But if Paddy goes in there so confident, overly confident, that might be the shortcut that Tony Ferguson needs to actually go straight past this and kill the hype train. Can he do it? I'm going to be watching live. We're going to see if it happened. But let's not shy away from your main event. Finally, after fucking a million years of anticipation and waiting, we finally got our UFC 296 main event, and it's Leon Rocky Edwards defending the UFC welterweight world title against Colby Chaos Covington. This is what we need. Now, I would have been happy if this would have been at UFC 295 with John Jones and Covington being at the press conference. This would have been very entertaining, but whatever. It didn't happen. We still get the fight. Now, when it comes down to Edwards versus Covington, this is interesting. Because, yes, the only two defeats that we got right now from Covington is against Usman. Edwards beat Usman twice, back-to-back. One by decision, one by TKO. Well, actually, it was a knockout. It was a full-fledged fall-asleep knockout. People could argue last time it was at Madison Square Garden when it came down to Covington versus Usman, who you had it 3-2, 2-3, whatever. Some people had it for Covington, some people had it for Usman. I can make the argument that it was probably Covington, but whatever. Usman won. Hats off to him. He's one of the greats of all time. This fight is a question mark for me. So much of a delay during the pandemic for Edwards. Did he have rust against Bilal Muhammad? A little bit. Did he have rust coming in with Nate Diaz? Not really. But when it comes down to the Edwards versus Diaz fight, nobody talks about how dominant Edwards was on that fight. They talk about that one time, that one moment he got caught slipping and was able to get a straight left right to the jaw by Diaz. And Diaz almost finished him in the last round, which was a 5-round fight requested by Nate Diaz. Edwards took a little bit of more of a delay and then went in there against Usman in Salt Lake City. Was losing the fight till that head kick that shot round the world. Headshot, down, done, new champ. You would have thought we were going to see a repeat on the rematch against Usman in London. Not really. That game plan was not implicated very well with Usman. Edwards was able to retain the title. So when it comes down to like delays or breaks away from the octagon, Edwards actually, sometimes he will have that rest, sometimes he doesn't. But then we got to keep in mind, this guy's all the way in London. That big travel, it's a big difference. And now we're going to Las Vegas. Maybe it might take a toll on him, maybe not. We haven't heard anything from Edwards, so maybe he's training. I mean, he was just in his brother's corner, Fabian Edwards, who was fighting for the Bellator middleweight title. Edwards suffered defeat, but he got a little bit into it with Johnny Elbin, where Johnny was actually saying, "You next." I don't think he realized we're in two different organizations. I'm the champ and Bellator, and you're the champ in UFC. I don't think this is gonna happen, but heat of the moment. So let's see. Maybe, hopefully that doesn't take too much of a toll on the mentality of Leon Edwards. Now with Covington, we haven't seen anything from him since his victory over the game-bred Jorge Masvidal. And then the whole issue that went down in Miami. We're not going to even talk about that. That's personal shit. Now he has the title shot. Now here's the kicker. When it comes down to Covington, when he takes a break, you would have thought he comes back worse. He comes back better. Covington comes back better. He's training out there in MMA Masters in Miami. He's doing his thing. You don't believe me? Check out his fight against former UFC welterweight champion Robbie Lawler. That was a break. And he dominated in a 5-round main event. Cardio machine. Now, Edwards wins. What do you do next? At 170, who do you do next? Who's the number one contender? Bilal Muhammad? Yeah. He was promised a title shot. But Muhammad is going to have to wait until 2024. This fight happens in December of 2023. End of the year. That means he hasn't fought since May. Going 8 months, 9 months, whatever. That break, I don't know. To me, I would have put Muhammad in the cage with somebody. Who? That's a question. You probably could put him against former champion Kamaru Usman if he wants to stay at 170. But I think Muhammad is going to opt out to wait, see the winner of this. I'm pretty sure he's going to sing cage side, and we're going to get a winner. Now, with Covington, I feel like the UFC will catapult business-wise if Covington is your welterweight champion. We got the presidential election coming next year. He's making a push for the one they call Donald Trump. Could be interesting. Now that we spoke about UFC 295 and 296, here is the situation when it comes down to fights, rather if it's boxing, MMA, doesn't matter if it's UFC, Bellator, PFL, or One Championship. We are going to have a new segment on the Drop That podcast. It's called Who You Got. Y'all can voice your opinion on who you got. When these fights come to fruition next month, when it comes down to UFC 295, we will have our first. Actually, no, I take that back. We're going to do sooner than that. Fuck November. We're not going to wait until then. We're going to do it this coming October for UFC 294. That is where we're going to make some fireworks there, because we have Paulo Costa versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm not even saying his name right, so I'm going to call him Chimaev. There you go. I think I said that right. So Chimaev versus Paulo Costa. They saying this is for the number one contendership for the middleweight title. We got a new champion in Sean Strickland. I find it odd that we're having a number one contenders fight when we have DDP, Dricus du Plessis, as a number one contender. I think you should still do that fight with him and Strickland, because you can go any route. If Strickland wins, you get a rematch with Izzy. If DDP wins, you get King of Africa type of fight against Izzy. Now, I don't think they're announcing what happens next until we have a Costa versus Chimaev winner. Costa, I don't, personally, I find it very odd he's still at 185. He's fighting at middleweight. Yeah, he fought last year with former middleweight champion in Luke Rockhold. But we're forgetting about he couldn't make weight against Marvin Vettori. That fight was like changed in weight class. First a catchweight, then it went to 205. These guys don't fight at 205. It's kind of weird. But, you know, it happened. I think he should push up to 205. We need some more fireworks at 205. And I think Paula, you know, being he looks like a mixture of Ricky Martin and the Terminator. Holy shit. Pretty boy, fucking muscle-bound guy. I think he should go to 205 after this fight. Chimaev, I mean, people are acting like this is his debut at 185. He was fighting bouts back and forth before the Leon Edwards fight was being discussed. He was fighting at middleweight and welterweight. This ain't his debut. This is just his permanent home now, because he can't fucking make weight after what happened a year ago. You were scheduled for 170, and you had to be pushed to 180 because you were way off weight. And the whole card had to get changed around based off of you. Unprofessional, but whatever. I think, I'm not going to even say who I have on this one. I'm going to wait into our segment, Who You Got. We're going to use it for UFC 294 that goes down in Abu Dhabi. And the main event is Islam versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title. I think that's going to be very, very interesting to see what kind of Oliveira we get this time. Against Beneil Dariush, guy smoked him. It's kind of hard to deny him a title shot. But it's like, is that the same one we're going to get? Because we're going to get the same fight we got a year ago in the same place it happened. I really, really hope Oliveira comes correct this time. But we'll wait until fight week, where we will have our segment called Who You Got. You know what? We'll give you a little deep into that. When it comes down to this weekend's undisputed 168-pound title, undisputed title fight against Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo. This is going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure the hardcore fans are going Canelo. Okay. We can do that. I don't have Canelo. In a different time, I would have had Canelo. Canelo looked interesting in the last three fights against Ryder, against Triple G, and against Bivol. A year and a half ago, he lost to Bivol at light heavyweight. He got outclassed. He didn't get finished, but he got outclassed. That, to me, I found that very disturbing, because you're just sitting there taking punishment. You're taking punishment. No one stopped the fight. I'm pretty sure you know they're instructed to not stop the fight. You want to go out on your shield. Respects. But he didn't stop the fight. You went 12 rounds taking nothing but punishment. Okay, we got to get our brand back on point. We got to get his feet wet again. We got to get his working legs again. I'm sorry, his walking legs again. Let's finally, after years of waiting, give us the trilogy for Triple G. Really? Who gives a flying fuck about the Triple G trilogy fight now? We have one judge fuck us over on the first fight. Then you really came with a better game plan on your second fight. Now we get in a trilogy. Let's use Triple G for the rest of, for whatever he's got now. And let's do it at a different weight class than we did it before. And we're going to get this win. All right, we're back on point again. Now we're going to go to Mexico give something for my country fans against Ryder. And he struggled a little bit with Ryder. Not many people knew about Ryder. Not many people knew about Ryder, but he struggled. He won, but he struggled. If that Canelo shows up, if he shows up against Charlo, we're looking at a new undisputed 168-pound champion. That's who I got. I got Jermell Charlo taking it. I don't have him taking it by knockout. I think Canelo has an iron jaw, and you're not putting him away unless a referee's going to stop it. So if it's going to be a KO, it's going to be a TKO, technical knockout due to referee stoppage. But I have him at decision. Charlo, at 154, he's undisputed world champion. First man to do it in the 4-belt era. They're making a big deal of him going up 2 weight classes. Well, the next weight class is his twin brother, Jermall Charlo. You want the twins fighting against each other, dumbass? No, we don't want that shit, okay? These two train together with Derek James. I don't know if they spar. Only people on the inside know they spar, but they train together. They're brothers. They love each other. What the fuck are we going to put them in the same weight class? No, let's go to the next one where Mr. Canelo is. And let's do it. Undisputed versus undisputed. I mean, everybody needs to look at this. 154 pounds just means he cuts weight for the weigh-ins at 154. He's not walking around there at 154. He's not walking around the house at 154 with his family. He's not at the fight at 154 pounds. Because remember, after you weigh in, you got to rehydrate. You're going to eat. You're not going to be 154 come fight night. So he's probably walking around at 170, 175. Okay? All he had to do, that means a lighter weight cut when it comes down to Jermell Charlo. Just a lighter weight cut. And then rehydrate. That's like, hey, you need to cut down 5 pounds on weigh-in. And then you can bulk up 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. Eat, drink, whatever. Ready for fight night. Oh, yeah. You're putting more muscle on him. That means more dangerous. I got Jermell Charlo, new undisputed 168-pound champion this weekend. And it's going live this weekend, September 30th at the T-Mobile Arena. Make sure you watch it however you're going to watch it, whether it's live, pay-per-view, or other ways. Now, let's get out of fight news. Oh, just a friendly reminder, we also got another fight announcement they just put up. I just saw it on Twitter now. It's Ian Garry versus Vicente Luque, and that will be going down at UFC 296 in December. That's big. Ian Garry, guys, was trained with Conor McGregor. Big deal. Big deal. We need a name for you to get bigger. Here's Vicente Luque. It's going to be interesting. Now, let's get into it. Pro wrestling. Got the TKO merger with WWE and UFC. That is going to be serious. There are good things that has happened about it, and there's bad things that has happened about it. Yes, they had the big announcement and the big press conference and so forth for the merger at TKO. You have people from WWE, whether if it was Bianca Belair. Along with Bianca Belair was I saw Montez Ford. I saw Triple H. I saw Vince McMahon. At UFC, you see Daniel Cormier. You see UFC President Dana White. Yeah, it was. I think it's a big deal. I think you're gonna have probably better. There might be some benefits coming from this. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I hope it's something for the fighters. You know, whether if it's healthcare, whether if it's big paydays, who knows? Maybe bigger promotions, who knows? Time to tell. Now that it's been announced, it's no longer a secret. Shit's gonna get crazy. What bad came out of it was a huge amount of WWE releases like it did in the pandemic. The ones in the pandemic were very, very hard to get over, and it gave us very little time when they ended up coming back. You know, they ended up bringing back Braun Strowman. I think he's injured as of right now. Ended up bringing back last year at Extreme Rules, the legendary Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. Condolences to his wife and his family, and to his dad, the one and only legendary IRS, Aaron R. Shyster. Yeah, now look, we got a big one. I mean, I don't think it's big than it was before. Before, it was huge names being released, huge, bigger than this. This one, yes, it hits hard. We lost Matt Riddle. Kind of curious on how he's going to go. Former UFC fighter as well. Athletically, great in the ring. His in-ring ability is phenomenal. It's very hard to say that sometimes because we've had a few UFC fighters merge into the WWE ring. Some of them have adapted, some of them didn't. I think respect gotta goes to Shayna Baszler. She adapted beautifully going into WWE. Who else? Brock Lesnar really doesn't count because he started with WWE first. But he was able to adapt coming back. Now he's fucking bigger than I don't even know. Was the next big thing Brock Lesnar or the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar? I don't even know which one's bigger. I don't. I know he has a shitload of accolades. He probably doesn't give a fuck if he does, but he has a shitload of accolades. NCAA, UFC heavyweight champion, multi-world champion in WWE, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble winner, double time. I mean, I don't even know what is left for Brock to do. What? Go win the Intercontinental title? The US title? Go to NXT. You know how fast that shit will rise? You know what I mean? But Ronda Rousey, I think she got rushed when it came down to adapting to the WWE environment. I think she took what she was doing in UFC and just started doing in WWE. But she's a huge household name. First women's UFC champion, and first woman to ever be a UFC and a WWE champion. She's already been tag team champion, SmackDown Raw champion, main event at WrestleMania. She's already got accolades. I mean, I think she should have had a little bit more training. I think she would have been more effective that way. As far as all her matches go, I think the one that gets slept on the most was the one-on-one match from Survivor Series where Charlotte Flair stepped in and took on Ronda Rousey. I think that match was phenomenal. There was no winner, but I think that match doesn't get too much praise. I saw a lot more potential in Ronda in that match than I did in a lot of them. Matt Riddle, he adapted great. I think he spent like a little bit of time in NXT, but then he came in. He's a former Raw Tag Team Champion, former United States Champion. He did have a match at WrestleMania. I think it was a few years ago, something like that. He, I think it was Sheamus. I think he dropped the U.S. title to Sheamus, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was bad. Who else got released? Shelton Benjamin. I feel like that was a lost gem. What in the fucking hell? Shelton Benjamin? Like, the greatest of in-ring performer of all time, in my mind, is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Greatest of all time. In-ring performer of all fucking time. You don't believe it? Go into the motherfucking 90s, go into the network, go into the Peacock, and research everything about Shawn. Look at his 90s, coming from the Rockers, coming from going solo, then having Big Daddy Cool Diesel as your bodyguard, then going without him, having Psycho Sid as your bodyguard, going in as a household name. 1996 was Shawn Michaels' year. There's nobody who could fucking beat Shawn Michaels in 96. It was his year. From WrestleMania all the way, WrestleMania 12, no, fuck that. Royal Rumble 96, where he won his second Royal Rumble back-to-back from 95 to 96. From that Royal Rumble to 97 Royal Rumble was all Michaels. It was all the HBK. Look it up if you don't believe me. If you agree to disagree, whatever. Fuck off. Now, as far as anybody who could be in number 2 as far as in-ring performer, if in an argument, I would say the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Holy shit, did he have a debut year. Holy shit. Let's not forget, he was European and Intercontinental Champion at the same time. Let's not forget, he won the King of the Ring. Let's not forget, he beat The Rock at No Mercy for the WWE title. In a massive match. Massive. Yeah, you know. He dropped the title like 4 months later to The Rock, but that's beside the point. This guy had a massive first year. He was insane. He won Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck, quote unquote. So I would say Kurt Angle, I would say Shawn Michaels. Now in this generation, probably in the last 10, 15 years, one great in-ring performer, you gotta give it to Dolph Ziggler. You gotta give it to Shelton Benjamin. These two in the ring were insane. Shelton Benjamin, I swear, if you would have gave him a great, I didn't understand the gold standard. You know what I mean? I don't know if they were mixing it up with Cisco or the Golden Lords from Meteor Man. I thought they put some name on him. You know, I thought it was pretty dope, you know, the look. But it was like, they didn't do nothing with him. I thought they were going to even give him an ECW title. They didn't even give him the ECW title. Like, you're making him Intercontinental Champion, making him US Champion. What the fuck? How the fuck he's not part of that group? Like Big E, like Bobby Lashley, like Kofi Kingston to win a world title. He deserved a world title. This guy's in-ring abilities is phenomenal. But he's the one guy who got away. Now when he finally gets re-signed back to the WWE, you know, he gets injured, so he's got to wait a while. And when he comes back, you put him with the Hurt Business during a pandemic era. You don't bring back the Hurt Business, which is weird because that meant money. That was a great faction that helped Cedric Alexander. It was already doing well for MVP and Bobby Lashley, but you didn't do it. All right, whatever. Hopefully, Tony Khan, I'll get on your ass in a bit. You get your head out of your ass and you snatch up Shelton Benjamin. That's one guy that can bring eyes. Execute this time while you can before Shelton can't do it no more. Father Time catches up with everyone. Don't make this guy's prime go wasted. But then I mentioned him before, Dolph Ziggler, another one that got cut. Holy shit, the accolades this guy was on. Like, when I found out about it, what did I pull up on YouTube? I see the Survivor Series match where the Authority is a part of the storyline. And that's where Sting makes his long-awaited WWE debut. Here we go. Dolph Ziggler should have been MVP for that fucking match. The guy killed it. Holy shit, Dolph Ziggler killed it. Like, he should have been top 10 superstar of the year that year because of how he killed it. But that's one way to look at it. You know, I think his two world title wins were very brief. They don't get talked about much. I mean, sometimes when he cashed in his Money in the Bank on Alberto Del Rio. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that gets talked about of his title run because they're so quick. You know what I mean? I mean, they also made, I think it was a little bit before he got released, they were promoting Goldberg facing Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam where he gets speared and jackhammered like 50,000 times. Like, holy shit. I think AEW could snatch him too. If his brother is still there. You could do something with those two. Never know. But that's beside the point. Right now, the only thing moving the needle with AEW as we speak is the current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion / AEW World Champion MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Holy shit, that guy is a fucking workhorse. He is helping propel this company to another universe. Come 2024, Tony Khan, you better bring out the checkbook, and I hope you don't go broke over this, because that's the only way you keep an MJF. By next year, holy shit, there's a possibility we may have MJF, Jade Cargill, who else? Was it Jade, MJF, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk all in WWE by next year? Do you know how of a massive bomb that Tony Khan probably dropped if that happens? You got 4 of those people. 4 of those people. Punk, MJF, Jade, and Cody Rhodes. You dropped the ball on all 4 of them, and they end up in WWE, where now with this merger, oh, they can afford their salaries. Oh yeah, keep them millionaires. I'm not even done talking about that shit. Our next episode, we will be getting into the shits when it comes on to AEW, the All In London pay-per-view, and what occurred with Jack Perry and Phil Brooks, the CM Punk firing, the announcement in Chicago, the ball dropped, having 3 major events in Chicago, including the All Out pay-per-view, and your replacement was Dennis Rodman. Okay, we'll get on you. We'll get on your ass next episode. To close out this episode, we'll get into new music. We have Diddy, the Love album, Off the Grid, that came out. We have Nas, Magic 3, completing the trilogy with Hit Boy, come out. We have Drake's new single. I think it's called Slime You Out, or Slime It Out. I don't know. I thought the name was weird for a joint with SZA, who's a major star right now. As far as the Love album goes, killer album. R&B, holy shit. My thing is, if I could critique this album, it was phenomenal. Diddy could fucking disappear and fucking come back and not lose a step. Whether if it's a hip-hop album, whether if it was a fucking R&B album, doesn't matter. I personally think his greatest album of all time, aside from, like, every time he puts out an album, I'll be like, oh, damn, that's his best shit. Oh, damn, that's his best shit. Press play, damn, his best shit. It's not enough praise that goes about it. It's the Diddy Dirty Money album, Last Train to Paris. I think from beginning to end, 5-star album. If it's XXL album. If it's a Source Magazine, it's a 5-mic album. This is phenomenal. The features, Chris Brown, Wiz Khalifa, Rick Ross, got some Biggie in there, got Lil Wayne, Justin Timberlake, who else is in there? You got Skylar Grey. It's phenomenal. This album, holy shit, from beginning to end, phenomenal. The hype about it was well and down. This is the album. This is the number 1 R&B album of the year. Thank you, Diddy. Appreciate you, brother. My only question is, how do you not get Chris Brown on this album? He's the king of R&B right now. The king. Give respect where it's due. And that's Chris Brown. But I don't know. Maybe Chris wasn't available at the time. Who knows? Chris Brown doesn't get not enough praise. This is the one dude who basically put out a triple album. Everybody keeps talking about a double album. Life After Death, All Eyes on Me. What was it? What was it? The Wu-Tang album. I think it was Wu-Tang Forever. That was a double album. The second album that came after the 36 Chambers. Holy shit. He gave you 3 albums. If it was compact disc, that shit would come in 3 discs. It was over 40 joints. I think that was Heartbreak on a Full Moon. Give respect to Breezy. But I'm not shitting on Diddy. I'm pretty sure there was probably a schedule conflict. He didn't make the cut, whatever. Maybe it's a deluxe album coming and we get the king of R&B, Chris Brown, on there. Never know. Who knows? But praise to Diddy. Love the album. Nas, Magic 3. Holy shit. The #1 active MC in the last 3 fucking years. Gave you 6 albums. 3 trilogies. 3 King's Disease. 3 Magics. Holy shit. I don't even know which one's my favorite. It might be King's Disease Part 2 or it could be Magic Part 1. I think those are my 2 favorite when it comes down to him, but salute to Nas and Hit Boy for taking a idea and turning that shit into a legacy. We don't get enough MC and producer type of albums nowadays, and they gave us 6. Be appreciative of hip-hop. That's what you should do. Be appreciative. They didn't have to fucking do it. They kept the ball rolling. And they did it. And they started it in the pandemic. And they kept going. And it resulting into a Grammy. A Grammy that Nas never got. He got it off of an album that came out during the pandemic. Respect to him. Respect to him. Go get Magic 3. Go get the Love album. Them shits both came out the same day. They gave you a hip-hop. They gave you R&B all in one. I still got to look at what's my favorite joint of all of those trilogies when it came down to Nas and Hit Boy. You know what I mean? With everybody Nas has worked with, whether it was Eminem, Dr. Dre, Chucky Thompson, Salaam Remi, which was his #1 collaborator, or even Swiss Beats. He did great work with Hit Boy. And Drake put out a single, Slime You Out. Okay. He has an album coming out, and it's called For All the Dogs. Not the single I thought would have came out of that album. But okay. I'm giving Drake an actual chance right now. Because I don't know what this single does as to kick off this album. I would have put this single maybe third single. I think he should have did something more harder, but that's just me. But who knows? Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your boy Jax. This is the Drop That Podcast. We'll be dropping episode 2 coming soon, maybe at the end of the week, maybe next week. Be on the lookout for that. You can find us at, or subscribe to us at youtube.com/dropthatpodcast. That's youtube.com/dropthatpodcast, or you can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at dropthat_pod13. That's 13, 13, okay? This is your boy Jax. Hope you enjoyed. We're going to get more interesting, and we're going to take this podcast on the road. Right now, we ended up back all in the West. So, see ya. One love. One.